Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Could I follow up on a couple of the things you said, the loss and damage issue? You said that you want that to be discussed at COP. Do the United States think that the existing structure in place is sufficient for that? Could there be a new mechanism warranted to actually commit for loss and damage? Or do you think what we have now is enough? Should there actually be how much of a commitment do you actually want on loss and damage? You can actually follow up. You mentioned Mexico will come forward a bit. Could also, if you have any more details of that, but could I also ask you about Brazil had an election a couple of days ago. Lula has taken a very different approach on deforestation. How much of an impact do you think that'll have on the overall climate ambitions of the world? Thanks.
Sure. Well, let me begin on the loss and damage. I just had a very good conversation with the Prime Minister of Barbados, and we had a deep discussion. I think we found a lot of agreement on where we're heading and what we have to do here. We need to come together, all of us, to recognize that not enough is happening, even though I've cited an enormous amount of things that are happening. It is not enough to be able to, on its own, achieve our goals, particularly without a number of other countries being at the table and raising their ambition similarly. So we are anxious to see the loss and damage issue dealt with upfront and in a real way at the COP. We anticipate that it will be an agenda item. We're perfectly comfortable helping it to be that, which means at some point you've got to have an outcome. And we anticipate trying to work towards that outcome. According to what we decided in Glasgow, that would be over the course of a 2-year period. But maybe it can be done faster. We're not sure. I think we have to get there and have the conversation. And we certainly support coming out with some kind of structure that provides for appropriate financial arrangements, which we hope to arrive at. So we have to get there, and we'll work in good faith to do that. With respect to, and let me just say, well, I think we are anxious to do this in a very cooperative, non-confrontational way. We don't feel that this has to be an issue that's, sort of pounded at people, because we agree, as do almost all nations now, that much more has to happen faster. And we have to find more money to put into the system in order to deploy the technologies and help the countries be able to do what they need to do to meet the challenge. So I think you're going to see some impactful and important initiatives in order to try to help provide that finance. One example would be the MDB reform. We can't talk about it anymore. We have to do it. And we're the largest shareholder, the United States. I know President Biden is seized by this issue. I know that Secretary Yellen has twice given 3 major speeches on it, and most recently raised it at the fall meetings of the development banks. And I think we're very, very committed to trying to get that reform in place, because that will significantly increase the amount of available concessionary money and low interest money that can leverage the kind of deployment of the technologies that we need. On Brazil, we have set up with the environment minister a working group that includes the FBI, the DHS, the Department of Justice, the EPA, a whole large group of American agencies and departments that have some responsibility for some components of what happens to promote deforestation or to allow it to take place. Under the Bolsonaro government, regrettably, the level of deforestation increased in the Amazon, and it is at perilous high levels today. President-elect Lula is committed. He's already shown that commitment previously with a program that he had in place. But now I hope we'll be able to refine that program and move forward even more rapidly with the reforms that are necessary in order to try to save the Amazon. There are about 25 million people who live there. They don't have a lot of income other than today, cattle or logging. And so we in the rest of the world are going to have to recognize that if we're going to value this great forest, we have to help them to be able to preserve it. And I think there are many countries ready to step up to do that. So we'll reach out to the incipient, to the Lula government as soon as it's appropriate.
Yes, right.